is original to UE. And now, Tim Webster taking you through the Stuart Bocking Show.
And there's a leading self-defence training company conducting, it's like a Tupperware party to enable women to be prepared for that sort of assault. The idea is the brainchild of Canada's leading self-defence training company, Safe International. Now, they've been doing this, these parties in self-defence for quite some time. Jeff Phillips was conducting self-defence classes here in Sydney and then approached by the organisation to become involved in teaching women this self-defence at these Tupperware, for want of a better description, type of parties. And very happy to say that Jeff's on the line now. G'day, Jeff.
G'day, Tim.
It makes sense, and when women are confronted with, and sadly it just happens far too often, these hideous situations, it'd be nice to know how to handle yourself.
Oh, most certainly. It's a shame that there is a call for this kind of thing, but unfortunately it's the way society is these days, and it's become a necessary skill, in my opinion.
Yeah, and obviously it'd be less confronting to go to a party of this type rather than to walk into a gym or somewhere else like that to learn self-defence.
Most certainly. If you look at the demographics of most gyms, like I run a gym myself, and the majority of the people that come in are males, 20 to 40 years of age, which they're not one of the most vulnerable groups. The most vulnerable groups are, the elderly, women, school children, and they're the people that, through Safe International, they're the ones that we're trying to reach.
Yeah, and you actually had an approach on Facebook, which is interesting, from this Canadian company to get the whole thing going.
Yeah, well, basically I've been doing similar things out here for a number of years now, and I've posted a lot of my videos on YouTube and Facebook and things like that, and the whole dialogue started. They made a complimentary comment on one of my videos, and it kind of grew from there.
Okay, so, women, when confronted with one of these extremely dangerous situations, and obviously 99 times out of 100 it's going to be a physically stronger person than them. I know it's hard to do in a radio interview, but what should the initial response be?
The first thing, what we teach is awareness and avoidance, first of all.
Right.
So, it's easier said than done because there are certain occupations that put you in these dangerous situations. But what we do is we teach methods of recognising a threat, so prior to it actually occurring. And then if, you actually end up in that threat, we go into verbal diffusion. And there are certain warning signs and things that people give off that give you an indication of what you're going to do. And then if it turns physical from there, what we do is our approach is sort of non-martial artsy, if you will. It's generally just self-defence. So all the associated baggage with martial arts we don't do. It's generally, we attack the vulnerable areas of the body. We have sort of ways that pretty much anyone can do. If you're an 80-year-old woman or a 5-year-old kid, you can get this stuff to work.
Yeah, now that situation with Leary a couple of years ago at that bus stop, and apparently that young woman did try to calm him down in some way, offered him her purse and whatever else to try and talk him out of it. So you're saying that's a good initial response?
It is. Your personal belongings aren't worth your life or aren't worth any of the things that they would do to you. And there are a couple of little psychological tricks and things that you can do to determine, first of all, whether that's their intent is to harm you. And, we also give the physical responses as well. But, most certainly, nothing is worth, your life. And one of the things that we find is that people find it really difficult to be rude to a person. They'd rather not be rude to a person and get themselves into a dangerous situation rather than upset someone. They go along with it, and we try and get that out of people's mindset, just to realise that your safety is the most important thing in these situations, regardless of if you upset that person or not.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I suppose easier said than done, and to try not to be a victim. Yeah.
Yeah, most certainly. And what we also do is, in these parties, I carry a little self-defence suit around where I pad up, and we do go through all various situations. And the thing that we do that is very different to martial arts is doing these kind of things in your home. That's where it could actually occur. So, we do these things on people's lounges. We've done these things on buses and trains and things like that before, where you can actually simulate the real environments of what it's actually like. And that way, our belief is that if you experience it in training, then you'll find some sort of familiarity with it under the circumstances, and then be able to act accordingly, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Is it the case far too often that women actually don't believe in their own ability to defend themselves?
Oh, most certainly. It's not as hard as people think. If you look at some of the patterns and things, no matter how big, tough, and scary a person is, if you hit them in the throat or you do something to their eyes, they're going to respond. They're going to carry away and give you an opportunity to A, continue the attack, or B, to flee. So we go through all of those things, and there's a way that you set them up. So it's not all what you would see in a karate dojo. There's kind of things that you can do to set the person up. One strategy is strategic compliance, where you actually pretend that you're going along with it. They feel a little bit more comfortable, become a little bit more relaxed, let their guard down, and then that's when you attack
Right.
and things like that. So there's a little bit more to it than your typical physical karate class.
Yeah, and as you say, look, we're making the Tupperware party analogy, but it's a good one.
It's amongst friends, and it's surprising the amount of stories that you hear from women and the things that they open up and tell you. It's a really good environment, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, and, without being putting too fine a point at it, I'm sure many women tell you that there have been situations they've been in that seem to start out harmless enough and then get, very worrying and concerning for them.
Oh, most certainly. One of the things that is quite common is women should trust their intuition.
Yeah.
So many people, so many victims of attacks say, I had a bad feeling about that person,
Yeah,
or
right,
something didn't feel right, and they ignore that. What we try and encourage them to do is to listen to that, because that's one of your body's survival mechanisms. And I mean, even if you're wrong, then, what's the worst that happens? You offend someone who is ultimately a stranger. So, yeah, we encourage that.
Yeah, and you'd already been doing this too, also, very importantly, for schools and for the corporates.
Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of that. I do a little bit of work in hospitals and places. I've worked with real estate agents, because, again, that's another profession where women are taking guys through houses and factories and things by themselves. Pretty much any industry where you deal with people, any industry where you have the potential to upset a person, that's where these services are needed.
Yeah, take a bit of control and don't be so vulnerable, yeah.
Yeah, most certainly.
All right, so how do we get in contact? How do people get in contact with you?
We have a Facebook page called Safe International Sydney. We also have a Facebook page. We also have a website, safeinternationalsydney.biz.
Great.
And all the information's there. You can see little samples of what we do. And it's, as you can see, it's a lot of fun. It's absolutely nothing like you would imagine or what people expect it to be. We have a lot of fun through this, and there's a lot of valid learning as well.
Yeah, well, Safe International Sydney.biz, that's the website, that's the best place to go. And, I just thought about, as soon as I read that story this morning, I just thought about that poor woman confronted with this fella. And, at a bus stop, and she's very fortunate that a passing motorist was able to alert the police and get her out of it eventually. But it would have been just absolutely terrifying. And she started out doing the right thing and, but was really in a very, very tough situation, very bad situation for her to be in. So it's very fortunate for her she got out of it in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Good on you, Jeff. Thanks for your time. Good to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Tim. You too.
Now, Jeff Phillips, Women's Defence Party planner, if you like. A defence planner is what he is. So, safeinternationalsydney.biz, and he's a martial arts expert, Jeff, and already does it for the corporates and at school, and now has got these parties for women. Pretty good idea, because sadly it's something we have to face these days. Don't want to, but we have to face it. It's 12:30.
This is Sydney's original 2UE. And now, Tim Webster taking you through the Stuart Bocking Show.